Well, hello there, everybody. My name is DRF, and I guess my fun fact of the day is that I have 5 Alaskan and Canadian sodas sitting on my desk that I should probably put away here, including such hits like Raspberry Soda and Daredevil Orange Cream Soda from Victoria, Canada.
Is it Daredevil, Orange Cream Soda or Daredevil Cream Soda?
It's Daredevil Orange Cream. So shout out to the city of Victoria, Canada, for giving me that one. Or if you really would like, pumpkin pie soda, produced in Alaska. So those are my souvenirs from my recent trip to Alaska. But anyways, I am joined by my co-host today, Krona. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I look a bit flat and PNG like this week, as my computer has unfortunately passed away. As such, I do not have a camera. But I'm here. I am excited to talk about the wonderful season we have just wrapped up here for the CCA.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and get a bit of an overview of this episode and then we'll get started. So first, we're going to be starting off with some CCA announcements covering all of the things you need to know about the end of the academic year. And following that, we'll be talking briefly about the division storylines retrospective, everything that you need to know and take away from what was season 5. Followed by a season 5 division winners showcase. A bunch of our division winners were very kind enough to put together a couple of videos for us that we will go ahead and watch. We're going to then top that off with an interview with WPI Grizzco Union Busters, your season 5 division 4 champions. So then top 3s from this season, and then lastly a look at a CCA Summer 2024. So with all that said, it is going to be an action-packed episode. So Krona, let's go ahead and increase the counter and get started.
And certainly, let's start off with our Season 5 fantasy updates. Yes, those have finally been compiled, and we actually have winners for the regular season and the fantasy playoff brackets. So let's start with the regular season. Funny enough, the average response may have been the best season, ending the season with 368 points. But the battle for second place, the battle for the best player throughout the entire league, was between Chai Dragon and Yash Terra. Again, WPI person we're about to talk to later, was much, much more interesting than that. For weeks 2 through 5, Yash Terra held the title, but then Chai Dragon took the lead after the regular season. Yash Terra was a step ahead after quarterfinals, with Chai Dragon reclaiming their spot after the semifinals. Yash Terra held a 3-point lead once all the finals were done, proving that they had the best picks for each division. But once points were added for special usage and weapon win rate, Chai Dragon holds as the best player of the fantasy this season with 359 points. So well-fought battle between those two. And DRF, would you like to recap the playoff bracket fantasy?
Sure. So I was instructed by Snow to read this exactly as he had written it. So I guess I will go ahead and do just that. So the fantasy playoff brackets have also been completed. 40 players, 6 divisions, so 240 some brackets there. Minnie was the only person to complete a perfect division bracket, picking every single match winner, all 8, in Division 4. So congrats to Minnie for actually being the only person to get it completely right in any division. The overall winner, though, was DRF with 43 points, barely edging out second place Filmopolis by a singular point. I guess I also correctly predicted 2 division winners and got 27 out of 48 matches correct to earn the title. Again, this is from Snow. I'd especially like to shout out the biggest character development arc for DRF here, as he went from the official biggest loser last season to the official winner of the fantasy playoff brackets this season. Thanks, Snow, I think. So thank you to everyone for participating in this new fantasy project this season. We're gonna go ahead and kind of tailor it a little bit and try to bring it back next season because I thought the fantasy playoff brackets were so much fun, Krona.
Oh, it certainly was. I love the streams for quarterfinals that first weekend of playoffs, just eagerly watching them and hoping that my bracket wouldn't break was so much fun. And it's been a lot of fun to see the questionable takes that a lot of our other community members have had with the playoff brackets, and which of them were actually came out on top. But yeah, those are your season 5 fantasy winners. Moving on to talk a little bit about the CCA directory. If you're a club leader here and have not filled out the CCA directory, we very much implore you to do so at some point. This directory, if you're unfamiliar with it, serves as a way for people to have a contact point for collegiate Splatoon at every university. It is designed for both established university programs and universities that have not participated in any CCA events yet, would like to have a presence in our scene at some point. If your school has a presence here or wants to have a presence here, I highly recommend you fill this out. And it is very much a great time to do so, as a lot of incoming students for the fall will be looking for clubs and looking for opportunities and activities to join. So if they are already in this competitive Splatoon scene, this is a great resource for them to guide them towards your program. So I highly encourage the club leaders and captains to do so.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Krona, for kind of heading that CCA directory there. So please be sure to participate if you have not done so already. This is going to be a great way for us to kind of just get a full database of all the different schools that have Splatoon programs. Oh, excuse me. Well, then to wrap up our announcements here, the podcast feedback form. So we here on the podcast team are always striving to do our best to produce a podcast that is an enjoyable experience for the entire CCA community, even the Splatoon community if you don't know much about the CCA. So as such, we are looking for feedback regarding our coverage of CCA League Season 5. If you're interested in providing such feedback that we can, incorporate into this project as we go into the off season and possibly even Season 6, please feel free to get on the forum. Vapor will go ahead and drop it in the chat for you all. So feel free to fill it out and share what you think about the podcast and any ideas that you would like to see come from us on the podcast team.
Mm-hmm. This entire season's coverage has been a huge undertaking for us here. We tried a lot of different things, whether it's been the different formats, match comments, and other stuff. So we're very interested in hearing what our community has to say about kind of the podcast as a whole and what its future can have here in the CCA. So if you have any thoughts whatsoever, please put them there. Please share. You're allowed to bash me if you want. I won't take it personally. So yes, please do so if you'd like to help us out.
Absolutely. So the podcast is not perfect, but we certainly try to cover everything we can. And it is a massive undertaking every single week just to be able to put on this, 60 to 90 minute show here. So a lot more goes into it than you think.
Very, very much.
Well, let's go ahead, though. That is it for our announcements. Let's head on to our second segment of the podcast, and that is going to be our division retrospective. So let's talk a little bit about what the story was for Season 5. Season 5 was certainly a season to remember, Krona. After a long 10 weeks, 340 matches played, we have now crowned 6 new division winners. Gosh, that is a lot of matches played. But we did compile a few other stats as well that we would just like to share with you all, and then we're going to go ahead and break down division by division our quick takeaways from each of those. So across 10 weeks, we had 340 matches played. That's across the 134 teams and 707 registered players in the CCA. And across all of those 340 matches, 51 of those were game sevens in the regular season. So subtract 340 minus numbers real quick maths. That's 8 games per playoffs times 6 divisions. So 292 regular season matches. And 48 playoff matches. So of those 292, 51 of them went to a game 7. So that's pushing something like close to 20%. So right around that ballpark. And in those 48 playoff matches, 4 of them went to a game 9. There was 868 hours worth of Splatoon 3 that was played this season. We did have one 8-minute clams game for only the second or third time in CCA history. We gained 443 new Twitch followers. That is absolutely insane, as that, I believe, is probably about a 25% growth in just the past couple of months. 92 and a half hours streamed this season, including the podcast episodes, going through all of the season 5 coverage. 92 and a half hours. Oh God, Vapor, why did we do this? We had 4,257 unique viewers throughout the season. 4,000 people watched CCA matches. 162 clips created, in which I'm sure half of those were people that accidentally pressed the create clip button, because half of them are just like the intermission screen, but that's okay. We got a lot of clips made. 11,373 chat messages sent on our Twitch channel. 227,966 minutes watched this season, and 35 Twitch subscriptions. Oh my goodness, that is crazy numbers to produce for a Splatoon league. So I just want to say that I am thankful for our community, for those that tune in to like these podcast episodes or the matches, whatever your way that you engage with the CCA is. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for your just continued support of the CCA, because we really can't do this without you all. So, hey, I take this as a successful season, Krona.
I would very much say so as well. Numbers can only tell half the story anyways. But I also want to highlight just how much the community has come together from the season to see everyone talking in the channels in the CCA server, to finding scrim opponents with teams, in and out of the division, and just kind of building a better sense of community from the CCA as a whole. It's very uplifting, and the season has brought a lot of that and has continued to foster this unique side of competitive Splatoon. So as DRF said, this is very much a win season from all of us here, both the players, as you all, for having such a great and successful season, and for us staff for fostering a better community environments. So that is kind of a bit overall. So let's kind of dive a little bit deeper into kind of the storylines and the pivotal moments and teams that made up some of this long, lengthy season. And let's start with Division 6. So Division 6 is always a joy to watch develop, as it's very much the training ground for a lot of the newer CCA teams here. And it has a lot of new players who are passionate about the scene, and about starting their competitive Splatoon journey. This once again holds true for this season, with a fantastic lineup of new collegiate teams participating for their first season in some enthralling matchups on stream. So we want to do a quick shout out to a few of the newer teams this season. That was including the Deep Sea Terrors, Coyotes Blue, Gluga Gugas, Buccaneers of the Caribbean for their very Green for their very exciting first season of collegiate play. It is teams like you that keeps us excited about the scene, about the new universities that have new programs, the new players that can be entering and experiencing competitive Splatoon, whether that be collegiate or non-collegiate, for the first time. So thank you for making this season in this division very interesting. Division 6 always remains one of the most interesting divisions to watch throughout the season for its spark and for its status as the welcome gates in the CCA community. Once again, that holds true here. So DRF, would you like to talk a little bit about Division 5?
Absolutely. The division of the storylines in Division 5, there was so many layers to them this season. Tiebreakers were one of the biggest storylines, I think, throughout the entire CCA, but especially so here in Division 5, where we saw that tiebreakers had determined playoff spots in 3 out of the 4 groups, in which 2 of them were 3-way ties. Group 3 saw the Seminole Cephalopods Gold team survive the three-way tiebreaker by having wins over both of the tied teams. And this is the kind of tiebreaker that we rarely see in the CCA. So Seminole Cephalopods Gold, a very unique path there to the playoffs. It's only happened a couple of times in CCA League history. And Group 4 also saw a three-way tie for first. DPU Anarchy Rainbow and the University of Alberta claiming those playoff berths by game win-loss differential. There we go. And then on top of that, we had two teams that finished 5-0 in the regular season, Clark Coy and the Table Terp Troop, who both only lost a single game throughout the entire regular season. And this became very clear to us that we were due for a collision course between these two teams in the semifinals. I think it definitely was almost a bit of a shame that we didn't get a chance to see them in the grand finals, but the grand finals match ended up delivering on a whole different level as well. So in that Division 5 semifinals, though, Clark Coy and Table Terp Troop, they did get the opportunity to play each other, where Table Terp Troop won that 5-1. And in fact, the Table Terp Troop, despite only dropping a single game in the regular season, they had to fight tooth and nail to get to that Division 5 championship. They had to overcome a game 8 versus the Seminole Cephalopods Gold team. Then they won 5-1 against probably their toughest opponent in Clark Coy. The score doesn't really do justice in terms of how close that set actually was. But the Table Terp Troop, hey, massive win there against Clark Coy. And then a 5-3 victory over CSUDH Ivory, who they swept in the regular season, got the rematch in grand finals, and CSUDH Ivory improved so much, so quickly, and I think surprised everyone by taking that to a game 8. So shout out to A-State Black as well, who, struggled in Division 3, but had a massive season this season in Division 5, finishing 4th place. But hey, Group 1 and Group 2 may have dominated this season, but every group entertained us in Division 5. So this is certainly going to be one to remember, Krona.
Yeah, no, Division 5 has always been one of our personal favorite divisions to watch. From the absolute just chaoticness of the newer teams last season in Division 5 to the solid roster of newcomers and new opportunities some of these teams have had here this season. It has certainly been like a joy to watch develop throughout the season, and to see all these teams getting some of them getting a second shot at some glory here in Division 5, and others kind of finding the right place of where they belong here in the collegiate scene. So to see it all unfold here has been absolutely wonderful and enthralling. But let's jump up a little bit to Division 4 to talk about some of the pivotal teams here. Division 4 being another kind of fan favorite of mine to watch for its very consistent kind of like harkening on to like the starting gates of some of the more upper division play, and especially because of the high quality of Division 4 teams we had last season and how well those teams have done this season. It's very interesting to see the unique and pivotal teams that come out of Division 4. Some of those teams include the fan favorite WPI Grizzco Union Busters. Came into the season strong, almost having a perfect season until the grand finals. Gubb has shown that they earned the Division 4 champion title. We also need to talk about their opponent in that grand finals match, the Grizzco Gators, who broke the perfect season of WPI Gubb. The Gators end with back-to-back silver medals from Division 4 this season and then Division 6 previous season. So very impressive to make it to playoffs back-to-back in different divisions. And this speaks, again, volumes about University of Florida's very growing quality Splatoon program. Speaking about growing quality Splatoon program, let's talk about GMU and their Division 4 team, GMU Academy. Came back from not making the playoffs last season to making the playoffs in Division 4 this season. It's very unfortunate how they exited playoffs, but it's very promising for the players who consistently grow at that school and such too. GM Academy was also frequent participant in the CSCU in the off season between season 4 and 5. So it's very good to see them learning from their stuff in season 4 and from that and to apply it here to make the push to playoffs and to have a really good end of the season recap. But we also need to talk about UGA Red having to fight their way to playoffs. Their last 2 sets went to game 7s, with the first set having the long, intense clam overtime, which unfortunately they lost. But they bounced back in the second set, was able to win that game 7, give them to a playoff spot. UGA Red, the previous Division 6 champion, proving once again they are in it. They are growing at a rapid pace here and could hold themselves up in some of these higher division. So Division 4 has been a wonder to watch. A lot of good collegiate competitive Splatoon coming from it. So yeah, what do you think about Division 4, DRF?
Oh, Division 4 is always a fun division. I think that we very quickly realized that Gub was the powerhouse that they turned out to be. But I'm glad that the finale there was very interesting, to say the least. And I think that all of the matches that kind of surrounded Division 4 were so interesting, so engaging, and I think all of those storylines interweaved beautifully to give us, a worthy champion in WPI Grizzco Union Busters. But all of the pieces that fell into place surrounding that just made it so entertaining. And that this, even though this will go down as a WPI dominant season, it's was so interesting from start to finish, and there was just so many fun teams to follow, upsets galore. So I very much had fun with this one.
Yes, it really much feels like a division which had like all the storylines in it wherever you looked, and every little corner sprinkled throughout. But yeah, very, very good Division 4. Would you like to take the lead on Division 3 here?
Absolutely. So let's talk a bit about what Division 3 was about, because Division 3 was another division just riddled with tiebreakers and some of the biggest upsets across all of the CCA. Division 3 entertained us from start to finish, with only 2 teams going 5-0 in the regular season, that being Egg Spaghetti and UTK. As we looked at the rest of the playoff picture as well, we had those 2 teams that went 5-0. We had 4 teams go 4-1, and 2 of our playoff teams went 3-2. But on top of that, another 6 teams finished 3-2, but ultimately missed the playoffs. So this was such a close division, where we just had so many teams that were right around that same exact record, 4-1 and 3-2. So that's really what sort of defined this division, is just how close it was. It didn't matter who you were going to play. It was going to be a close game no matter what. And everybody had a shot. Everybody was in the running until they were told that they were eliminated. And I believe it was group 2. We basically were like, any of these teams can make it going into the final week. So such a fun division all around in that regular season. As we kind of looked into the playoff picture, though, the curse of the group winners was very real at first. Egg Spaghetti being the only group winner to survive that onslaught, as every other group winner was knocked out in the quarterfinals. And then on top of that, we had a team that came out on top, CSU LB Black. They proved that defense can win championships. They very clearly established a team identity, and they were not going to back down from anybody. They produced one of the most thrilling playoff runs that we have seen. They dropped a single game in the quarterfinals and semifinals combined, but those games were so incredibly close, and Long Beach Black will probably agree with the sentiment that they had to fight to go 10-1. It was not an easy 10-1 run to get to the grand finals. And the scores were just so close every single game. They had to clutch up so hard. And then on top of that, a Game 9, the only Game 9 grand finals that we got, where Long Beach won that in thrilling fashion. And I believe that, unless there's a team that I'm forgetting about off the top of my head, Long Beach may be the first team to win a division title with a 3-2 regular season record. So we'd have to verify that, but it was such an impressive performance from start to finish from this Long Beach Black team. They never backed down from adversity.
Yeah, no, what an amazing Division 4. And I believe you are correct with that statistic. I can't think of any other team off the top of my head. But yeah, shout out to Division 4 for immediately breaking my fantasy playoff bracket in like the first 2
You
games.
mean Division 3?
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
All good.
No. Yeah. No. But let's move up to Division 2, which again continues to prove that it is the division of complete chaos. With each of the 4 groups having at least one 3-way tie, 2 of which were important for a playoff spot. And I don't have the statistics off the top of my head, but something in my gut propels me to tell you that I'm pretty sure this was the division that had some of the most Game 7s in the entire league in the regular season. I think
I did calculate that. Division 2 and Division 3 tied with 12 Game 7s.
Yep. Yeah. No. Yes, it was Division 3 and Division 2 had some very competitive competition. And there's a lot of pivotal teams in Division 2 that had some great seasons. Let's first talk about the Splatlanders, the Division 2 champions, came into this division as a bit of a dark horse, having a strong performance in regular season and then absolutely killing it in playoffs, showing that they're a very strong and talented team that has gone up from Division 4. They didn't even win Division 4 last season. They came second, and that just proves how much of a dominance this program has became over this last academic year. Another critical storyline here in Division 2 was the entrance of ScAD Black Team. ScAD's highest level competitive team, having played a lot of low inks and from the inks up previously, finally makes their collegiate debut here and having a very strong season, making it into playoffs as a first seed, and then end up getting a bronze medal in their first season on the podium. We then have the fan favorite Cream's Corn, showing that every single game counts by sneaking into playoffs through taking only 1 game off of Onsu Scarlets. Hashtag Creamer Nation. And then we unfortunately, while these 2 teams did perform a little bit at the bottom of the regular season, I do think it's still worthy to mention RET Tiger Sharks, who just had the worst misfortune of the Game 7s, having played 3 regular season Game 7s and losing every single one of them. I believe yes, I think one of those was against Flatlanders too. But still, RET has continued to show that they have a very strong program, and their program just keeps growing. I think they went from 1 to 3 teams this season alone, and all these teams have been really quality. So good stuff coming from there. Then we also wanted to do a quick mention of the Towson Tiger Sharks. Tiger Fish, making every team in Group 4 go to at least a Game 7. As this was mentioned in the Squid Scholar Showdown episode, this is the best performing 0-5 team in CCA history, only having a win differential of -8 at the end of the season, which is ridiculously good. So again, Division 2 is always entertaining to watch, as you see a lot of these teams fighting each other, trying to prove that they can make it up to Division 1. So a wonderful job, Division 2.
Absolutely. Division 2 will always hold a special place in my heart. It always delivers every single season. It's always just a matter of which of the groups is going to be the most chaotic. I believe that rightfully went to Group 3 this season, but Towson in Group 4, they made it interesting for sure. So I don't think we'll ever get such an admirable team like Towson Tigerfish. Like, it's not even close. Like, you know, as being an 0-5 team, they were by far the best 0-5 team. And if one little thing goes their way, they possibly could have been a playoff team. So,
yeah, I'm very excited to see what their program brings next season and over the summer.
Same.
I think, harping back to a little bit of a retrospective from last season where we talked about wanting to see GMU's growth and such for their team, I'm kind of putting my money on Towson and just to watch how they're going to grow between seasons, because I really want to see some great stuff happen there.
I'm right there with you. That's one of the teams that I want to see the most going into the next academic year.
Yeah, but yeah, let's continue on to Division 1. How about that, DRF?
Yeah, well, Division 1, I'll try to keep it quick, but the story of Division 1 this season was one of anticipation, growth, and surprises. For the first time ever, we introduced the wild card system for the Division 1 playoffs. where just because the number of teams that we had to kind of have 3 groups of 6, but we wanted a clean 8-team playoff. So we introduced this wild card idea to allow for an 8-team playoff. And that way it was easier to just kind of seed everything and to develop a bracket that way. And many folks bought into it right away. There was so many eyes on this wild card race as it became clear that some of the fan favorites would have to rely on the wild card system to punch their ticket to the playoffs. And we eventually did see that happen with EA UCD Banana Split and Long Beach Gold, as they were the 2 teams to utilize the wildcard system to get into the playoffs. Banana Split their 3rd straight playoffs, and Long Beach Gold cementing themselves as a top 8 collegiate team. But the storylines were just all over the place. We saw UCSD Esports Gold become one of the quickest teams in CCA history to ever secure a playoff spot, following a couple of upsets and drops that benefited them. They had secured playoffs by the end of week 3, which I don't think has ever happened before. OU Academy A surprised everybody by having a convincing 2nd place finish in group 3. I think we had thought that Oklahoma would be able to hang, but I don't think we anticipated them doing this well. So a huge congratulations to that program. Red Embers put on a show with clutch performance after clutch performance in the 2nd ever CCA Big Run. Gosh, I hope that we don't have to do this every season, but VCU upsetting the reigning champions PSU Blue to win their group. GMU proving to be one of the most clutch teams the CCA has ever seen, winning 3 Game 7s. That absolutely wild, but still missing the playoffs on top of that. Just a wild season that ended in heartbreak. And then the playoffs delivered as well. The Night Sharks securing a massive upset win over VCU, only to have the tables turned on them by UCSD in what went down as one of those most exciting sets and thrilling plays that we have ever seen in the CCA league history. Red Embers versus PSU was the rematch that we all knew we needed, and it delivered on that front as well. It was such a great rematch between those 2 teams. And then, of course, all of this wrapped up by UCSD Sports Gold concluding one of the best semesters that we have seen in the CCA in 2 or 3 years, with a Division 1 title to go on top of their wins at CCA Road Trip, the UC Esports Invitational, a Fire Pit bracket win at Low Tide City. One of the most impressive semesters that we have seen. So Division 1, just a fantastic season all around for all of the teams involved, and I'm so excited to see how they continue to reshape themselves going to the next academic year.
Indeed, such a great lineup of Division 1 teams. From the champion of UCSD Esports, just having, like you said, that fantastic semester of results, to all of the other podium teams. Night Sharks getting back on the podium after not even making playoffs last season, and for the dominance of Red Embers as one of these bright new collegiate Division 1 powerhouses. VCU, GMU, OUA, Banana Split, just fantastic stuff from them. It's been such a fascinating season and so great to see all these fantastic programs at it once again.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for our retrospect. We do have one more stat that actually our producer has put down on paper for us here. So the last stat to add is that we did stream 60 matches this season, which is crazy to think about. I don't know if that's 60 just on the CCA or combined with Splatoon tourney. Okay, so the 60 is just on CCA, so add another about a dozen over on Splatoon tourney, so probably 70 plus matches. So just a massive undertaking, and the fact that we were able to stream probably about 20% of matches that occurred in the CCA is awesome. So I'm very, very pleased with that. So with that said, though, that does formally conclude season 5 in terms of our storylines and whatnot. But hey, Krona, I think we have a little bit of something to wrap this one up well, though.
Very much so. DRF and I could sit here for, 3 hours maybe and talk about all these storylines and everything. But we figured it might be best to hear some words from the teams that have climbed out of their division to stand on top of it with the division winner crown. So without further ado, we'd like to share some of the words from all division winners this season. So, Vapor, if you would, run the clip.
Hello, this is CSU Black's captain and Flingsy player DP Squirtle, along with the rest of the team, Sploosh player Cloud, T-Take player Sammy, 52 Gal player Duke, Zap player Filmopolis, and Ballpoint player Hydro.
So something we struggled with was scheduling, since a lot of us were dealing with school and some of us would work. But we managed to communicate well and with stuff like when to meet to organize our scrims and matches.
Something I think we did really well was making sure we kept morale up and cheering each other on throughout all our matches, especially through playoffs and finals. We knew if we lost the mental game, it would be a lot harder for us to play our best.
And becoming the Division 3 champions means a lot for our team. From the first time we played together, we knew that we had the potential to make a solid run. But to see all the work we put in come to fruition is very gratifying, and hopefully we can continue our success into the future.
Well, this was an amazing CCA season conquered, especially with Tacticooler. And I'm really looking forward to the future of our school's teams and esports program. Looking forward to growing our recognition within and outside Long Beach State, along with adding land support to the switches if we want to do in-person matches. I also want to host more engaging events. It's time we leave a legacy.
And we thank the CCA for giving us the opportunity to have an incredible experience. This allowed us to meet some amazing people in and out of the battlefield, and hopefully that you will see us more in the future. And that will be all from CSU LB Black.
Don't forget to show off the
Bye-bye.
jerseys. Show off the jerseys. Yeah.
The dad.
Hey,
The dad.
that is-
Hello everyone, my name is Jin, and today I'm joined with...
Hello Cephalopods, my name is Splatjack, and I'm Table Terp Troops 52 Gal player.
Along with our other teammates, Sneaky, Shmeh, and Anchovy, we make up the Table Terp Troop. The season has honestly been a roller coaster for us, so this championship win means a lot to us. It shows that all our hard work paid off and that we have potential to grow as a team.
The University of Maryland Splatoon Club has only been around officially for just one semester, and we have lots of plans to grow as the next school year approaches. We would love to recruit new students at our giant club fair that UMD holds every year. And once we find enough interested players, we would love to help start another CCA team and really get along and help with that. And as a team, we plan on playing in other tournaments too, such as Ludi this summer. The CCA really means a lot to us, and we're going to continue to give it our all next season. And remember, we deal the cards.
We do the card.
Hey all, Cyan from Splatlanders here. Sorry this is a last minute recording. I'm in Vegas right now. I actually kind of just landed, so I hope you enjoy the scenery at least. So honestly, this is huge for us to be division champions, especially Division 2. We did not think that we would be getting this far in Division 2 from Division 4. So I'm really proud of the team. As for the future, we are looking to compete over the summer. We are looking to hopefully do even better in Div 1. And yeah, I think that's all from me. So once again, really proud of the team, and I can't wait for what the future holds for NJIT's Splatoon program as a whole. And yeah, that's all for me. Signing out. Take care, everyone.
Heyo, this is Justin from WPI Grizzco Union Busters. Sorry this is the last minute recording for me. I'm in Vegas right now. You enjoy the scenery at least. So this season was Gub's second one, again being in Division 4. This time around we had Hamburger, who was a spontaneous new recruit. If you want to see top tier blast and dynamo gameplay, look no further than Hamburger and Out. Gub is also known for its high flexibility, running a ton of different team comps due to our large amounts of players. I'm very proud of what my team accomplished this season, both on a team and an individual level. In terms of struggle, well, that's a funny thing. Somehow we took home every match 5-0 outside of Grands and our 2 buys. Crazy gut by luck, by the way. We were unexpectedly cracked, I should say. We did a lot of scrims this season. So when we scrimmed against teams in a higher division, we were put to our limits and gained valuable lessons. For example, versus the Goomies, we learned how impactful special coordination was and the importance of map positioning. Versus Flatlanders, we learned to play off of cooler and how to deal with insane aggression. What is this guy doing? We appreciate our coaches Garrett and Krona as well. This title is a culmination of our combined efforts of Gubs these past 2 seasons. It's particularly special considering this is our last CCA season, meaning that this was many of the team's last chance to win the CCA season. Somehow, everyone at WPI has won a CCA season so far. So what's next for us? Joking outside, a lot of us in Gub and a member of GWU will be participating in Moody soon, under the name Robert Leviathans. Look forward to that. GWU will likely continue, and there will be a new team with all the freshmen coming in. All my question quota has been answered. Thanks for tuning in.
Yo, what's up, CCA? We're UCSD Sports Goals, and we are your Big One Sam. I'm Nerdy Adams. I'm Ocean Opal. I'm Goat Cow. I'm CD Wooey. And Enda's not here. Hey, over here, open. So, how's it feel? What's this champion title mean for you and your team? We are so hyped because we've been working hard for multiple seasons and been in the playoffs for almost all of them, if not all of them. And we are so hyped to finally take this #1 dub home.
I've been here since season 1. We've been struggling, trying to get first place, and also winning season 5 means a lot to so much
Okay. So tell me, what's next for the program? Well, I am graduating, unfortunately. I would love to stay and play more Splatoon. But yeah, the carbon roller is beating the team, but UCSD is still going to stay on top. I'm confident of that because we got so many amazing players coming into the program. I'm new, haven't been in comp in forever. My first year doing this, and it's been an honor taking it, playing with these guys. It's been life-changing. So I hope for the future, more good games, sportsmanlike conduct, no beef with anyone. I love everyone here. It's it feels good to play with people who are really passionate about the game. So we're really looking forward to the future of the CCA.
Yeah, what a fantastic string of comments from all the division winners there. Very interesting to hear all their thoughts on their winning seasons and kind of what they're going to do next and such. So again, congrats to all of our division winners from season 5. You all have done incredible this season, had such great seasons and results, and we're very excited for you. So with that said, we actually want to talk and go into an interview with one of those division winners, that being the Division 4 champion, WPI Grizzco Union Busters. So, welcome to the stage, Justin and Grib from the Grizzco Union Busters.
Woo! Hi.
Hello. So a short introduction to the WPI Grizzco Union Busters, hailing from a program that is very near and dear to my heart. That being WPI. The WPI Grizzco Union Busters are WPI's second team within the CCA and made their league debut in Season 4. About half of their original roster came from their sister teams. The sister team's Season 3 Division 3 winning roster, while the other half was completely new to the CCA. There they were placed into Division 4 and a solid season, going 3-2 and just missing playoffs due to a tiebreaker with PSU. That did not slow down this team down as they continue to play in the offseason, become a very frequent CSC participants. Placing back into Division 4 for Season 5, Gub has had a dominant season with the team being completely undefeated until the Division 4 Grand Finals match. With notable wins over Champlain Seafoam, PSU Fishface, Kraken Cove, and Grizzco Gators, Gub reigns supreme as the Division 4 champion. So welcome the WPI Grizzco Union Busters.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. So, with any introduction I write, I'm bound to miss something. So, could you two please fully introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about your team?
Yeah, okay. I'll go first then. So I'm Justin, that's also my real name. So I'm the captain of Grizzco Union Busters. I used to be on the Grizzco Workers Union last year and became the captain of this team. So here is actually I'll let you introduce yourself. Do you want to introduce yourself, Grib?
Okay, yeah, I'm Grib, which is not off my real name, and I joined much later after Justin did, but before the founding of the Grizzco Union Busters within our school.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. You want me to go over the rest of the team?
Sure.
You feel free, go for it.
Alright. Oh, Grib forgot to mention that she's actually the co-captain too. Yeah,
That's an
hasn't
important
come into
role.
much play this year.
That's
Yeah.
private information.
But yeah, there's a lot more members of our team. As you can see, we have a roster of 8 currently. Like some are not like exactly active this season, but they were active at one point. So I could go over all the players. So first off, there's like a notorious Dynamo player who likes to flank all the time and takes as many trades as possible. There's Hamburger, our new recruit, who's been destroying Div 4, which we'll talk a bit about later. And there's Fuel and Point, 2 returning players from Grizzco Workers Union who came to Grizzco Union Busters with me. Fuel is our backline player, and Point plays stuff like Big Swig and Nova. There's also KZ Gamer and Caleb, are 2 freshmen in the team who we basically introduced to competitive Splatoon through our team last season. I hope I didn't miss anyone. Oh, I can also talk about Garrett, our coach, who used to be on Grizzco Workers Union as well. Yeah,
Nice.
Awesome. So as we kind of, I guess before we get more into, the questions about you and your team, I think we need to talk very briefly about that division winner video that we saw from both you and the Splatlanders. So can you shed some light on exactly what had happened there? Was this a planned meetup in Vegas that we just didn't get an invite to, or like did you just happen to run into each other, find out that you were both in Vegas? What's the story there?
You didn't get the mail, DRF? I sent it on your inbox. Yeah.
I must have missed
what had
it.
happened? Yeah, you must have. What had happened with this is, like, I messaged Krona that I was going to Las Vegas, and apparently, their captain and Splatlander, Cyan, like, messaged Krona as well for, like, the video, how they were going to be in Vegas and want to record it there. So Krona connected the dots and said, hey, you guys should meet up. And then, yeah, we just basically did that and recorded the video together.
That's great. I love that.
I felt like I was playing lovemaker for the recording video.
It certainly is one of the most unique instances of a division winner video that we have ever had. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You did it fantastic too, with you each just lurking in each other's background, like not even addressing it, other than like one time.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Oh well, that was definitely a fantastic set of videos and a great memory for both of you from season 5. But let's kind of first start talking about your Splatoon program at WPI. Justin, you've been with the program since its creation, as you played under the Workers Union back in season 3, and Grib, you joined shortly after that. Could you both kind of talk about how your program was created and how it's developed and grown since its creation? What was that? A year and a half back at this point? Yeah.
Yeah, I can start with that. So at the very beginning, I was just like walking to school, and I was walking by a dumpster, and I heard some muttering, the word Splatoon being muttered over and over. I looked at the dumpster, and I saw Krona hiding in there, caressing a trash bag, muttering Splatoon.
At this point, he was around 7 years old. But when he saw a great Splatoon player like Justin walk right in front of that dumpster, he was like, wow, I want to grow up and be a great Splatoon player just like you.
Oh my god, I'm very much regretting this interview now.
No, this is great. This is everything I could have asked for. I guess just on that note, so we also wanted to kind of touch on your relationship with the WPI Grizzco Workers Union. So first of all, like how closely do the Union Busters and the Grizzco Workers Union interact with each other? Do you guys tend to do internal scrims type stuff, or what's that relationship like?
Yeah, and I can go into a bit of the divide between GW and Gov too. So we were very close to each other. WPI is a relatively smaller school, so everybody on the Splatoon team knew each other. We all founded it together. Krona was the founder at the beginning, and we had the connections from GW. So once we split off into two teams, considering there's just too many people to fit in just one. We still had all the connections. We were communicating to each other through the WPI Splatoon server, the WPI esports server, and just were very collaborative with each other. I asked Krona for advice and the previous GW captain Garrett as well. And so we've been doing a lot of stuff together and having in-person meetups, as I'm sure you've seen on WPI's Twitter as well. Some of those, they're pretty fun. Yeah, it's just generally a big community.
Yeah, and I'd like to add that for things like pickups, it's often composed of members from both teams and not just one, just because we're so close-knit with each other.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, on that note, can you kind of shed some light on how the Grizzco Union Busters brand came to be? Because that's when schools have multiple teams, sometimes they kind of, bounce the brand off of each other, and this is one of my favorite instances of that, where you have the first team being the Grizzco Workers Union, and then the second team being the Union Busters. So how did that come to be?
Yeah, so we definitely made Grizzco Union Busters off of the first name. I'm not sure of exactly who did it. I wasn't the original captain of Club at the start, so I wasn't there for the initial creation, the choosing of the team name. I think Krona may actually know the answer to that, but yeah, generally we wanted to keep the same name idea.
I believe it was made around pre-season 3 during the entrance exam when we were splitting teams, and the person who actually made the name was Krona, I think.
Yeah, not to butt in and get interviewed myself, but Gub's first appearance was actually during entry exam 2. It was a very different roster. It was basically the people who weren't playing season 3, and I believe I did come up with the name, and we all wanted it to play off of it. Which is really funny because that means that the person who came up with the Workers Union name plays on Gub now, while the person who came up with Gub name plays on Workers Union.
Oh yeah, that was Field, by the way. Great name choice by him.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's awesome. I love when teams are able to kind of bounce their team names off of each other, and I think that the overall branding, I love that the Union Busters logo is just the Union logo, but with a giant X through it. So it's overall fantastic branding across the board for WPI.
Yeah, shout out to our player Point for making both those logos.
Yes, shout out to them. We love graphic designers around here.
Yeah. So across all these podcast episodes, well, not all of them, but some of them, and some of the more team-centric and organizational ones, I made a lot of allusions to various WPI get-togethers for the Splatoon program, from Splatfest parties to CCA watch parties. Furthermore, a lot of the W players have also made repeat appearances at New England, the Splatoon local in Boston, Massachusetts. With that in mind, could you both kind of talk about the ways and avenues the WPI Splatoon program goes about building camaraderie among its players, and how you all support each other both in and outside of the game?
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of camaraderie. Oh, that's a different thing. But yeah, so like we have the WPI Splatoon server. We do a lot of like looking for games, shenanigans, stuff like that. So generally, we're just very active community, like playing games with people like from GWU and Gub. And like we love to go to these in-person events to just build connections and like just have fun together. And like we've built connections like across other teams too. So like you were saying New England. So like one person there, like that Gub is specifically acquainted with is Hacking Cove's captain, my guy RDB. So we met him there. And another like team we know, not from New England, is like called Koi. So we're well acquainted with them just because we're in the area and like we've talked and done scrims with them. So like I kind of make it a point of mine to just be like well connected with people, both in and out of the team, and just trying to have a good time with people.
Fantastic. Anything to add on to that, Grib?
No, that was actually pretty perfect. I don't think I have anything to add on to that.
That is a-okay.
As expected. By me being perfect.
Okay, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, Justin. Let's move on to talking about Gub's run here in Season 5. You're placed in Division 4 once again after your solid run there last season. Of course, there's a lot of teams that both came up from lower divisions and dropped down from higher divisions, and some that stayed the same like you did. What did you first think about the other teams within Division 4? Which of them did you immediately have an eye on for either having history with their programs and teams previously, or just from word of mouth?
Oh, yeah. So we've actually had a lot of history with some of the other teams in Div 4. The one that immediately comes to mind was PSU Fish Fish. So we fought them week 1, same as last season. So that was like a pretty infamous rivalry we had, and we wanted to make sure that could get streamed. And some other groups, like we did like a CFC like a week or so before the season started, and we fought off against teams like C Sharp, Kraken Cove, and Nautilus, I think. And yeah, and that was a good impression to how Div 4 was going. Like, unlike what you may expect, we lost to 2 of those teams, and we thought there would be a pretty close season because of that, and we were happy to have like a lot of rivalries going into the season.
Yeah,
Nice.
I also want to say another team that had our eye was Seafoam, Champlain Seafoam, because we knew the captain of the other Seafoam team, who was Cyan, and we kind of developed a friendship throughout the season with Seafoam.
Nice. That's fantastic to hear. I love hearing the stories of teams from separate universities coming together and building friendships both in and out of the game. So fantastic to hear.
Absolutely. And so as we kind of, I think you guys definitely heard this a lot throughout the regular season, and it's probably both a team's, dream, but also worst nightmare is to have the storyline kind of attached to you that this team has a perfect season. They haven't dropped a single game. So I guess, first of all, did you all think that you would be able to make such a dominant run this season? Were there any times before the grand finals match where you were certain that, okay, this is where we're going to drop a game, finally, or something?
Yeah, I could start from the beginning though. Like at first, we had no idea that this would be so dominant. So, like before the season began, like we had like a pretty close games, and then we got a new player, Hamburglar, who we realized was really, really good until after starting. So like that first week, we saw we got a 5-0 and thought like, hey, this is pretty easy. But then week 2 came along, we got another 5-0. And then we thought, wow, we're doing really well. Maybe we shouldn't be Div 4 or something. And then, like, it just kept progressing. Like, in that group phase, like, we just had relatively easy times throughout that. There were a lot of times, like, I know, like, we had the 5-0 pressure and stuff like that. But, like, we came pretty close to losing games on multiple instances. Like, to start from the beginning, like, just versus PSU, like, us Blackstone's ramen game, we almost lost. And then, like, infamously, like, the Kraken Cove one, there was some very close games, especially that last one, like, Kraken Cove almost won. So at the end of the day, like when we were doing the match versus Grizzco Gators, like during that first game, well, like the game we were lost, like I just realized, yeah, we were gonna lose, and there was nothing to do about it, and I was pretty calm, despite that. I don't know if Grib has anything to add on to this.
Never at any point did we think we'd go undefeated for so long.
Yeah.
Like it was just a genuine surprise to us. And yeah, we never thought that I just said that, but at a lot of points we thought we were definitely going to be losing games. So it's just like a genuine surprise.
No, that's awesome. So I respect the humbleness here. Because it's when you have a dominant run like that, you definitely you feel like on top of the world. But of course, then you finally had a bit of a run in with the Grizzco Gators in that grand finals match. So when you finally, I believe it was game 3 in grand finals was the first time that you had dropped the game. How did you all react to it initially? Was it because I know sometimes for teams it's a sense of relief that hey, we don't have to like be perfect, but for other teams it's like gosh darn it, we were so close, like we almost had a perfect season.
I can go with this one. Like even before the match, Justin was telling us like be aware that we're probably going to be losing games on this one, and like when we did inevitably lose that game, there was a little bit of like jokes thrown around, like, no, we've lost our perfect score, but it didn't really affect any of us because it was inevitable that we probably were going to lose games with such a talented team like Grizzco Gators on the other end.
Yeah, I want to add on to that too. So I was actually kind of happy we lost the game still. Like, obviously, I wanted the perfect season. But if there was a team to lose games to, like the Grizzco Gators were really good, and those matches were really fun. So I prefer to have games that aren't perfect, and at times we may actually lose. Like I was talking about this with Krona earlier, how his heart rate went up after our first game. So that Black Zones game was insanely close, and we clutched that out. And that set a good precedent of what that match was gonna be, and how it wouldn't just be a sweep for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a fantastic mindset to have there too. And yeah, I mean, Grizzco Gators are a hell of a team. I mean, any of the teams you played in playoffs are were really good teams as well. But you know, I think us as staff are also glad that you didn't have a perfect season, as it meant that our seeding wasn't absolutely skewed as we originally might have thought. But hey, you know, it comes with the job. But moving on, you ended up playing against a lot of programs this season that had some rivalries with your sister WPI team from last season. Those including the likes of a GMU team, Kraken Cove again, a PSU team, and also a University of Florida team. During any of these matchups, did you feel any pressure from either your sister team or any of the community members to do well in these matches, or was that not really a non-factor for you all?
Personally, I felt like it just led to some excitement that there was like more stakes and like more of an interest going on. Like I know during like the match that was supposed to happen versus GMU, like there was a lot of viewers about that. Like people were very excited about that match, and that could have been really fun to see. And like despite there being like said rivalries, like I was talking to GMU's captain, Demerol, and like it was pretty fun talking to him, and yeah, and I just got more of a connection considering GWU had a connection. I did connect to their captain as well. And yeah. So.
I think we also just had a general pressure to do well throughout the whole thing because this was our last season.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Do you want to quickly comment on that for some of our viewers that might not be fully aware of what you mean by your last season?
Oh yeah, so the Grizzco Union Busters is composed of mostly WPI seniors, apart from one student, KC Gamer, and so if we ended up winning this league, this would be our only chance to win a division because we'd be leaving right after.
Damn, 7 out of 8 seniors. That is wild. Like only one person is going to be around after this season, right?
6 out of 8, but yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
basically.
6 out of 8. Okay, gotcha. That's still a lot. That is crazy. I don't think we've ever had a team with such a high proportion of seniors, but I feel like that also makes it all the more special.
Yeah.
Well, so certainly this was not like the same Union Busters team that had played in season 4. Even without the fact that you added a player to your roster this season. So I guess just from like a high level perspective, what would you say changed the most about your team from season 4 going into season 5, and how did that affect your run?
Yeah, obviously, like, the new player was a big addition, and, like, some changes in the roster, too. Like, some people, like, not playing as much this season, and some people being less available to play and stuff like that. So it was generally a big shift. So, like, I like to consider the 2 seasons differently. Last season was, like, a bit of, like, a learning experience for a lot of people. Like, I did some, like, methods to, like, help teach the freshmen, like, in terms of, like, an individual meetings and also presentations and stuff like that. And this time around, there was, like, a lot more commitment among the people. So we did, like, more scrims and more practice and stuff like that. And generally as a team, like, our comps kind of felt like, with this new player, like, we felt, like, more complete. Like, making more cohesive comps that, like, worked off of each other and having weapons that played off of each other. Like, having a blaster was very good on a team comp and stuff like that. And, like, among the rest of the players, like, we all found weapons that we were good at. So, like, I know I played, like, Splattershot more this season compared to, like, Splashmatic more last season, and it was definitely very different.
Our Dynamo never changed, though. That was a permanent spot on the team.
But no Gold Dynamo this season.
Yeah.
Big change.
Jesus.
Huge things for Gub.
Yeah. Do you want to add anything other than mention the Dynamo player to that group?
Yeah, mostly what I was thinking about was what Justin mentioned with our weapon comps changing quite a bit from last season. So
yeah, would you say that you just had a lot more flexibility?
Yeah, I do think we had a lot more flexibility, especially with Hamburglar playing like 3 or 4 different weapons on his own, each with a different role.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I also know, like, Bib's weapons changed so often throughout this season and the last one. It was interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it's fantastic to hear both of your, like, perspectives as, like, on season 4 being, like, your growth season. You're figuring out the groove and coming back and hitting it hard here in season 5 with just a dominant run and taking things a little bit more seriously for your team. So kind of skipping ahead to the pivotal moment of the season, that being the grand finals match. Could you take us through that game 1 that set the tone for that grand finals match? That being that game on Splat Zone's Haggle that you just barely scraped by and won.
Yeah, so I can start from the beginning though. So we just went into zone, like, we didn't know exactly how to vote. But yeah, we did not know how to approach there, so we just stayed in zone, and eventually, like, we got all hit by Azuka and died at the very beginning, so that was not the best start. And then, yeah, it was just generally back and forth for a while. Like, after that, we tried to build special to get back onto zone and was able to push them off and goes back and forth through pushes. We eventually died to a similar Zuka scenario, and we got put in a really hard spot. And again, more back and forth. And eventually came to the end, like, we were about to lose, like, there were not many points left. And then, like, I realized, like, we had to do something if we wanted to win there. So I made the last second decision to flank and kill the Nautilus, and that was, like, enough. Like, even though I died in the process, like, my teammates were able to do everything else, kill the rest of them, and just barely get in that push and, like, give us the win there. And pretty fun game.
Yeah. Anything to add there, Grib?
I was not in that game, so I can't tell you the feelings of the
All good.
Yeah.
I forgot who played. Moving a bit on from the set, after that game 1, you then played game 2, 3, and 4, with you winning the first game 2 and then losing the next 2. Could you talk a little bit about like your team's morale at that minute and kind of how y'all were thinking? Because this set was now tied at 2-2 going into game 5, which is a position y'all have like literally never been in before. What were you thinking? How was your team morale? And then what were the adjustments you made going into game 5, if any?
I did talk about team morale from my perspective. I also think it would be a good idea to hear Grizz as well on this. But generally, like, I was not concerned throughout the whole set, even though it was 2-2 and like the games we did win were pretty close. I knew like we still had it in us to win, like, and I trusted all comps. So like throughout the midway point, we kind of noticed, hey, like we don't want to potentially lose this. So we focused more on doing like our better comps, so to make sure like we could guarantee some game wins and just go from there, like secure the championship. But like I'd say generally as a team, the morale was pretty good in terms of trying to win this. I know there's a lot of stress going into it, but yeah. Yeah, good. Do you want to comment more on this?
Yeah, personally, I was so nervous throughout the whole thing. I don't think that ever changed until we actually won it. And something that did happen, I don't want to call out any specific players, but something that did happen is after we changed our comps after that, I forget which game, it was somewhere in the middle, we did end up hurting one of our players' feelings. So we did have to have a little talk about that in the middle.
Yeah.
But apart from that, the rest of us were like really high on morale. We really wanted to win this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to deal with situations like that.
Yeah. Was that the key adjustment you made going into game 5, or did you make other smaller adjustments, whether that be like changes in your approach to the game, ways to counter enemy weapons, anything like that?
I'm trying to think about it. I don't know if we made like any major changes. Like we planned out comps near the beginning and just general strategies to deal with them. Like especially like, during the set we realized like their like 10th developer player Slosh or like Pepsi Boy was their best player that we fought off against, so we took more steps towards targeting them. But I don't think we exactly changed weapons to deal with them. I could be wrong.
We had some contingency plans to change weapons, such as if the brush was giving us too much trouble, we were gonna have fuel switch to like heavy deco for point sensor. But we didn't actually end up changing any of our weapons apart from the player changes we made in our comps.
Nice. And then the final thing I have here about the grand finals match, after you won that game 7, winning that set 5-2, what were your feelings like? Were you excited, relieved? Was your adrenaline still pumping? Did you do anything to celebrate after that as a collective?
Did you match Krona's 180 beats per second, whatever Krona's heart rate was at?
Yeah, for me specifically, like, it was pretty hype in the VC after that fact. Like, we had everybody, like, I know I was saying, like, GWU and Gub is both pretty close, so, like, members from GWU entered into the VC too. So we were all, like, pretty happy together and, like, just, and, being happy in VC and talking about the match. Like, I actually had to go for my Las Vegas trip relatively quickly, so I left the VC, like, a bit in and got preparing for that. But, like, basically, I could do nothing but think about the game and how happy I was about the win. But I don't know what's the case for Grib or the rest of my teammates, so.
Yeah, a lot of us were just so relieved once we won that game. And yeah, we had a lot of other people come in, like Alex. He was just so proud of his biological father winning in grand finals, things like that. Yeah, and we did end up like making up our relations with that one player who did get upset, and we all took like photos together afterwards.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about the photos. I was happy we were able to like slap those up.
Because you guys were already done with school during those grand finals, right?
Yeah.
Or were you guys still in school?
We were done at that point.
Okay.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you were pretty much all still in the area?
No, not at all.
No.
Oh, okay.
We all
okay.
graduated and moved back.
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
was attending my sister's graduation at Philadelphia, and I had to play on my hotspot because the Wi-Fi was down in that area.
Oh shoot. we love
Yeah, that was
hotspot grand
crazy.
finals. Well, as you have alluded to multiple times here, the Grizzco Union Busters is a team composed of primarily seniors who had just graduated from WPI. So first of all, congratulations to you all for your graduation. That's always a really amazing accomplishment. So with that in mind, how would you best summarize what the story has been for the Union Busters? What's the story been?
The Union Busters have kind of been all over the place, like ever since our very first game, which involved Krona as one of the players, and I think the captain. And
that was the case.
This was for the entrance exam, yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
Our team lineup has just been all over the place, and this season was completely crazy for us. Because based on our last season's performance, I don't think we ever thought we'd get this far.
Yeah, I'd also call it one of high growth and high success, especially in this season. Last season as well, we got some pretty good success towards the end though. Generally, yeah, it's been pretty good. So I could go into a bit of the origins of Dub too. So like Dub was always thought of like to be like this team like which was of lesser commitment, like people who didn't like have as much time for the game or whatnot, and it like evolved into its own teams with players that played off of each other, and we got pretty connected towards the end, and just finally had better team comps and stuff like that.
I think what's really funny with that is that y'all are probably doing more than the workers, like towards the middle to end of season 5.
Yeah.
Y'all were scrimming more frequently, doing VOD reviews, and like actually planning comps.
That's awesome though. So then I guess begs the next question of what comes next for the Grizzco Union Busters, because with you all graduating, that certainly is a decision that you all are going to have to discuss, especially is the team planning to kind of stick around, or is everyone going to, take a bit of a break, go explore competitive Splatoon with other teams? What's next?
So we're actually planning on continuing with this for a good amount of time at least. So, with the upcoming Rudy season, we're planning on joining back like 4 of the members from Gub, including me, Grib, Hamburger are out, and 2 other members, including Barrett, our coach, and Mario from GW, all forming a team called Labird Leviathan.
Larbird Leviathan.
Larbird.
Did I say wrong?
It's okay.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question about pronouncing things, so
Okay. Oh boy. But yeah, you can see us there.
That's awesome.
And
Okay, I'm so excited for that.
We're called the Larbird Leviathans because Larbird refers to the left side of a ship, and we had a meme about going left on our team.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm so excited for you guys. That's awesome. I know that it can be a bit challenging to, maintain a team outside of collegiate spaces. So that's super exciting that you all are going to be playing in Ludi. Have you already signed up? The deadline is tomorrow.
Yeah. We also played in Ludi, or however you say it, before this.
Oh, Flutie?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's good to hear. Okay, so now one last question for you all, because every time this gets brought up in CCA staff circles, everyone just basically decides, we don't say the W word around here. So Krona's tried a couple of times, but can you enlighten me? How do you pronounce
Worcester?
Worcester.
Worcester. It's Worcester.
That's not how you pronounce it. Worcester.
Worcester.
You mean Worcestershire, right?
No, Worcester.
Worcester?
Worcester.
You know, like those medieval things where they stored all their weapons, their war chests. You just add an A to the end.
I'm just gonna say Boston. All right. So,
It basically is Boston.
No, we're an hour out. We're an hour out. Come on.
Oh, great.
At that point, just call us New York.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's basically New York, right? You're close enough. Well, thank you both so much for joining us today for this interview. It's been fantastic following the Grizzco Union Busters all season long, and I wish you all the best for whatever comes after your collegiate careers here. So with that said, do you have anything else you would like to plug? This is your opportunity to do so. You can plug your social media, whatever you may want to do.
I know I want to plug the WPI Platoon Twitter. That's been doing pretty well, and you can see updates from Gub and GWU there, and potentially Leviathan as well. And I mispronounced that. Okay.
We know Krona's been plugging that enough lately, though.
So Krona plugs it everywhere.
Hey, that's how you build a brand. So
shout out to Worcester Polytechnic Institute.
It's a fake knowledge,
no.
as Popgun said.
True. You know what? Popka may be right. Well, thank you both, Justin and Griff, for joining us. We greatly appreciate you taking time out of your schedules to chat with us today. So best of luck for whatever you're doing this summer and future career stuff. So we'll hopefully see a little bit more of the Grizzco Union Busters in other shapes and forms, both in and outside the CCA.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah,
of course,
absolutely. Well, that was the WPI Grizzco Union Busters. An absolute privilege to be able to chat with them, and certainly a memorable interview, Krona.
Privilege is a very unique word in this case.
Certainly, you all have a collection of interesting individuals that go to WPI.
As much as I joke around, I love them all. They're great people and great to talk to. So it's great to hear about them, regardless of how much gray hair they may give me sometimes.
Certainly. Well, that is going to lead us into our second to last segment here. And for the sake of time, we will keep this pretty quick. But Krona, like we did last season, let's talk about some of our top threes from this season, because this season delivered time and time again. And I think we can't really cap our season off on the podcast without talking about some of our favorite moments and storylines.
Yeah. Let's do it. DRF, would you like to start here?
Yeah, I guess first thing that we can debate here is, one of my favorite things to talk about every time is the top 3 matches of the season. Now, I have my top 3, and you are more than welcome to disagree with me on this. But first of all, I have WAC versus Springfield, Ohio, in the Division II semifinals. Both of these teams were just going, that was just toe-to-toe the entire time, where WAC eventually broke through and secured game number 9 to walk away with that victory and punch their ticket to the grand finals and a rematch against the Splatlanders. So that was my number 3 match. My number 2 match was the Division III finals, Egg Spaghetti versus Long Beach Black. This one was such a fun 9-game series between 2 California teams. We knew this one was going to be close going into it, but again, just Long Beach continued to kind of surprise everybody, and just the defensive powerhouse that they were, and ran away with that, cementing themselves as one of the most unique winners that we have had in the CCA league. And then my number one match, UCSD Bias Be Damned, UCSD Esports Gold versus the Night Sharks, was the legendary set of this season. I don't know how, but like UCSD Esports Gold and Night Sharks always find themselves in these crazy scenarios. And UCSD had never beaten the Night Sharks going into this set. Never ever. So they knew it was a tall task, but they were slightly favored going into this match as well. And all of that to just be capped off in Game 8 Rainmaker on Crableg Capital, where Nerdy Adam and CD Woomy got the 1-2 punch to snag the Rainmaker right as time was expiring to push it over the line and get the lead. It's just one of the most legendary plays that I have ever had the privilege to commentate, and just it was so much fun from start to finish. I can't think of a set that tops this one.
I mean, yeah, those are all three great sets, and I don't think I have necessarily a top three, but I definitely want to add two more matches for consideration there. The first being another UCSD Esports Gold match, that actually being their grand finals match against Red Embers. I definitely think that the Night Sharks and Gold match had a lot more kind of CCA history attached to it, but I think for just pure raw spectacle and the hype of the past leading up to it, the Red Embers UCSD Esports Gold match was just wonderful to watch. Did you see these two titans of the collegiate scene going back and forth, taking games off of each other, and just having a blast doing it? As Krona Beer said, that was like the match they had most been looking forward to towards the season, and they knew that could go either way. So just to see, kind of how it resolves with Esports Gold able to pull out that victory after climbing through past the first round of playoffs for the first time here in the CCA, it's just a wonderful match to look upon. And I also wanted to give a quick shout out to the Division 4 match between the Farmingdale Esports Rams and UGA Red. This absolutely powerhouse of a Game 7 match going back and forth between these two teams and ending with overtime on Clams, Barnacle, and Dime for Game 7, where Farmingdale was just able to sneak in a power clam and to end it. A wonderful match. I think that's honestly one of my favorite matches to watch live in the regular season, with some fantastic commentary from Keon and Nito to boot as well. So those are some matches I wanted to highlight. I think we should go on to talk a little bit about some storylines throughout the entire academic year.
Oh, absolutely, because the continuity from season 4 to season 5, there was a lot of great storylines that we got to see really get their storybook ending, or just see evolve as we've progressed from season 4 into season 5. So the top storylines that Krona and I had, as we kind of discussed this one a bit briefly, at least me personally, the first one I want to highlight is Red Embers. Red Embers going from the 2-3 wildcard team to the Division 1 Titans. It is an absolute pleasure to watch Red Embers play time and time again. They found themselves in a number of sticky situations this season, and somehow just clutched up every single time. I mean, that big run was just so much fun to watch from start to finish. So Red Embers, just the way that they've progressed since the start of season 4 to being the second best collegiate team in the CCA, it's quite the storyline to really see unfold. And Red Embers just they deserve the world. Like it's such a fun team, and I really do want to see where they continue to go and how they continue to grow. So they're going to be a fun one to see it. Their 3-season story arc as we look towards season 6 as well. The next storyline that I want to highlight, though, is the Division 6 playoff teams from season 4. So I originally noted this down as just the top 2 teams from Division 6, but the more I sat with it, I was like, honestly, all of the Division 6 playoff teams last season were so interesting to follow. As we look at the Division 6 playoffs from last season, 5 of the 8 teams that made the playoffs in Division 6 made the playoffs in a higher division this season. Like, that's pretty impressive. So the fact that these Division 6 teams were able to continue their consistent growth, to be able to be playoff, just playoff titans in Division 5 and Division 4 is amazing. I mean, we had UGA Red and the Grizzco Gators, the top 2 from last season, both made the playoffs in Division 4. Grizzco Gators finished 2nd place in Division 4. So, obviously we were a little bit nervous about like, okay, how far do we push, these teams like the UG Red and the Grizzco Gators? And they delivered. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Then you have teams like the Table Turp Troop, CSUDH Ivory. Both of those were knocked out in round 1 of the Division 6 playoffs last season. That was your Division 5 Grand Finals matchup, was the Table Turp Troop versus CSUDH Ivory. So the growth, again, just so awesome to see, and Table Turp Troop now being the Division 5 champions. And then, of course, U of A Axion Splatters as well. University of Alberta, our first Canadian team, managed to, perform yet again, making those Division 5 playoffs, ultimately losing round 1 in back-to-back seasons. But they're growing, and these are teams that are going to continue to shape the future of the CCA, and it's so exciting to see.
Yeah, no, certainly. Thinking back about all these Division 6 teams from Season 4 have done so well in Season 5, and if you're Division 6 Season 5, you should look at these teams and be like, this could be us next season. Put in the time, put in the effort. You got it. You can go far.
Yeah.
But I think there's one more program you wanted to highlight here, DRF.
Yes, and my favorite storyline from Season 4 to Season 5 is none other than the Splatlanders, who were the Division 4 runners-up last season, and now solidifying themselves as Division 2 champions. Krona, you mentioned it when we were going through the retrospective. They came into this season as Division 2 dark horses. The storyline around them was like, they will hang in Division 2, but will they, be able to make the playoffs? Will they be able to make a run at the championship? And they put all doubts to rest, saying that, hey, we might have dropped the ball in Division 4 Grand Finals last season, but we're getting the job done this time. And it was really one of my all-time favorite just turnaround stories. Falling a bit short in Division 4 and then coming into Division 2 and just saying, we are the team to beat here, and they just exuded confidence all season long, and they're a really fun team as well. Like, I don't know how you can't root for the Splatlanders. So that's my favorite storyline from this academic year. What a turnaround season for the Splatlanders.
Indeed. I can give some ammo to Cyan right now. I remember during seeding, I was even skeptical about putting them that high, but oh man, they have really made me eat my words, both with that and my bracket predictions. But honestly, I love to see them winning. They're a great team. I've interacted with them a few times here too, and they're just great to have on to talk to. And it's just a fantastic story coming out from another Institute technology. So I always like to see the Institute winning. But 2 programs I wanted to mention as well. The first being one I haven't noted here, but I kind of remembered earlier, was GMU's program, who had a fantastic Season 4, and then had really got some new players over that break and really stepped it up to make a very solid run Division 1. Just fell short of playoffs there, but still fantastic work. And like I said earlier, their second team is doing great as well. So very good stuff to come out of them. But another program I really wanted to highlight, because this was their debut academic year, was California State University Long Beach. Both Gold and Black had fantastic double seasons here, with Gold getting into Division 2 playoffs in their first season, and then making the jump and making it into Division 1 playoffs here in Season 5. And then with Black, I mean, they won Division 3 this season, for God's sake. Like, I don't know what they're putting in the water in Long Beach, but they're producing some great Splatoon players. And it makes me excited. Me not even being a person who cares, well, not cares, but like doesn't follow the California scene as closely as DRF does, makes me excited to see what they can do and shake up there and in the larger CCA season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that you pointed out both GMU and Long Beach, because both of those programs have grown substantially over the course of the 23-24 academic school year. So it's going to be fun to see what they can continue to do. I know Long Beach has a couple of graduating seniors, so it's going to kind of be a bit of a mystery to see what comes of this team, of this program next. But I mean, they certainly have some bright stars coming out of that Long Beach Black team that can move up to gold. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what it takes them next season. Like, even just coming off of this season, just kind of continuing to foster their program and let it grow next season is completely fine too. But yeah, some great stuff from that. Let's move on to our second to last top three, and I'll make it really quick. These are the top three matches that we wish we would have saw on CCA stream. That matches that we looked at the score part and be like, damn, we should have tried to get that on stream, because there were some very hype games and some very impactful storylines from it. The first we wanted to mention was Bash versus Girly Pops in Division 3 Group 2. This is a rescheduled match that ended up going to a Game 7 and almost caused a 4-way tie in that group for playoffs. So a very, very impactful match that just did not get caught on stream, which is unfortunate. But, we can live with it. The next was a Game 9 semifinal match in Division 4 between Grizzco Gators and Arc Haley. One of our, I think it was mentioned earlier, only one of our only 2 Game 9s. No, I think it was 4. Sorry. One of our
Game 9s throughout the playoffs.
4 Game 9s throughout playoffs. This one was unfortunately caught off stream. But, obviously we got to see the Grizzco Gators in the grand final match. But it would have been great to see them go neck and neck with Arc Haley and see that Game 9 that pushed them into the Division 4 Grand Finals match. And finally, we wanted to mention the Battle of the Division 2 Titans, the semifinal match between Splatlanders and SCAD Black. Splatlanders coming off of a very solid regular season and then a very dominant performance against Titans of Altorna Orange in quarterfinals, with SCAD having beat Cream Corn very dominantly then too in that quarterfinals match to meet in semifinals. This match unfortunately happened off CCA stream, but was captured by one of the Splatlanders players, I believe. But this match would have been great to see, as the Splatlanders very much disproved not disproved, but upset the fan favorite ScAD Black to punch their ticket into the Division 2 Grand Finals match.
Yeah. And that might be even a contender for top 3 upsets. A lot of people were riding the waves of SCAD Black, but Splatlanders was not going to be denied. So Division 2 semifinals all around was just so good.
Yeah, very much.
Well, speaking of upsets though, Krona, that's going to be our last top 3 that we cover here real quick. And our top 3 upsets. Now, first one that I want to highlight here is Springfield, Ohio over UCSD Esports and Navy. UCSD Esports Navy and SCAD Black were kind of the 2 people that everyone had their eyes on going into the Division 2 playoffs, or just even Division 2 the entire season. Those were the 2 fantasy favorites for everybody. But UCSD Sports Navy ultimately getting upset by Springfield, Ohio by a score of 5-3 for Springfield, Ohio to work their way into the semifinals. So a very, very impressive performance there that I don't believe we caught on stream either, but I think that would have been so much fun to be able to have watched, especially just, Springfield, Ohio just has never quite had playoff success. So for them to have this breakthrough is really awesome for them. The second one that I want to highlight here, give me Arc Haley again. Arc Haley over Farmingdale Esports. the amount, like, this was the singular biggest bracket buster of any matchup in all of fantasy. Farmingdale, I believe, was chosen like 36 out of 40 times going into this matchup, and Ark Haley gets the job done, I believe, in 8 games. It was just so impressive to see, and it certainly shocked many people, as Farmingdale was one of the favorites to possibly win the division and give Gub a run for their money. Everyone was kind of anticipating, like, oh, like, you know, maybe Farmingdale will finally end the perfect season for Gub, but they just never got that opportunity because Ark Haley came in and shocked so many people across the collegiate Splatoon community. And hey, I mean, UT Dallas is one of the premier programs in all of collegiate Splatoon for a reason, and Ark Haley showed that. And my last top 3 upset, give me the Division 3 group winners curse.
Oh my god.
That was probably one of the most exciting series of upsets that I have seen in the CCA. I don't think we have ever seen 3 group winners go out in quick succession like we did in the Division 3 playoffs, where we saw Bash go down to Goomies, we saw UTK going down to UC Davis Splatoon White, and then of course Long Beach Black beating I'm blanking on what was the team?
Was that esports? New Mexico?
Yes, thank you, UNM, absolutely. So all 3 of those were just a fantastic series of upsets, and Egg Spaghetti had their work cut out for them because it was just random unnecessary added pressure to them of like, oh, we're the last group winner standing, and then they got taken to 8 games by Bull Sharks, but they survived at breaking the curse. But that's got to be one of my favorite series of upsets that I've seen, because that all happened in like a 2-day span.
Yeah, some crazy stuff there. Very much know how you got that list. You just looked at how many brackets busted in the quarterfinals matches, but that's all good. Yeah, no, I remember very much losing some channel points to a few of those games. But you know, I digress.
Well, that's it for our top 3s, though. I mean, Krona and I could sit here forever and formulate top 3 lists, but we're going to keep it short and sweet. So as we kind of officially put this season to rest, we do want to just congratulate all of our division winners one more time, and thank you all so much for continuing to support the CCA every single season, every single event, because you know, we really can't do this all without you all, you know, supporting and making our jobs simultaneously easier and harder as we continue to grow with all these different schools and players and whatever. But just thank you. That's all I can really say. So
we love to see the collegiate community grow, and it's again shocking just how much it's grown in the last 2 years, and this last year especially. So thank you so much for the time, the effort you put into this community, and thank you so much for being a part of it.
Absolutely. Well, with that said, season 5 may be coming to a close, but the CCA has not let out for summer just yet. So what's next? Well, CCA has plenty in store for the summer. So let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen between now and the fall. So first of all, we have an event that we will be announcing very, very soon. It is a small event. No, it is not the Booyah Bowl. Please, it is not the Booyah Bowl. Let's just put that out now. But we will have a fun collab event with some friends across the pond soon. That will be announced in the coming days. Next, we also have Riptide 2024. So that is going to be coming up in September. So feel free to sign up. Prices go up, I believe, tomorrow, or tomorrow's the last day to get the discounted price, I should say. And we will also be hosting our collegiate 4v4 cruise, so please sign up for that as well. The CCA was at Riptide last year, and it was so much fun, and it was such a memorable tournament. We currently have 3 teams already signed up, so join those teams and let's make this Riptide one to remember, and show the power of Collegiate Splatoon. You can go ahead and make sure you sign up. There should be a form link. Yeah, I think that's a tiny URL thing on the graphic there, but we will probably put out a reminder ping sometime in the future. So but those are just 2 events that we are working on for the summer, but there is certainly more to come, so please be on the lookout for future announcements.
Yes, certainly. And even if this stuff isn't hosted here by the CCA, we love to see the collegiate community continuing to press the lines of kind of what the collegiate Splatoon looks like and such. So, feel free to, play in other tournaments and such. Tell us how you're doing in Ludi and all that other stuff. I know there's a bunch of already collegiate teams signed up. Golden Barracudas, HLG, SplatScad. There was a PSU pickup I saw, and a bunch of other small intermixing collegiate pickups as well. So good luck in Ludi. Have fun, push the boundaries of what collegiate can do. But I wanted to thank everyone on our podcast team who has worked on this episode, the scripters being Minnie, Cygnus, myself, and DRF. Vapor for being our wonderful producer once again, and for DRF and myself for hosting. Looking to the summer, this kind of concludes our coverage of CCA League Season 5 on the podcast. It's been a wonderful time to host these episodes. I'm glad you all could tune in and follow the storylines along with us. I want to give huge thanks to DRF, Omazen, Mizuno, Snow, Cygnus, Minnie, Elixir, and Vapor, and myself, for all the support they've given these episodes. That is more or less the bulk of our podcast team. I know we've all been through a lot this season, and it joys my heart to kind of get to this end bits and to have a bit of a break. So I want to thank you, the audience, for tuning in week after week. I'm glad the show could find an audience and that you could take something from it. It's been wonderful to have these match comments, to have our guests, and to feature every aspect of the collegiate Splatoon scene as we can. So we're very much planning on taking a break for most of June, and we'll probably return for some special episodes covering a lot of topics that we just couldn't have time for during our in-season coverage in July. Just be on the lookout. I promise I won't make the episode announcement the day of, to this one's. But just trust us to cook. It'll be coming out, and all. So that concludes this, not as long as episode 8 podcast episode, but still a pretty lengthy one for this season. Thank you for joining us here tonight. DRF, where can the good audience find you?
Well, before I sign off, a special thank you to you, Krona, for being the podcast project lead all season long. So these podcast episodes are only possible because Krona's taken the reins here to make every single episode what it is. So please give a round of applause for Krona, because these episodes don't exist without him. Now,
jeez.
Now, with that said, yes, you could go ahead and find me on Twitter at DRF_Splatoon and on Twitch at TritonDRF. But per usual, you can find me right here on the CCA channel covering all things collegiate Splatoon. Like I said, summer's not up yet for we're not out for summer yet at the CCA, so you'll still see plenty more of me, that's for sure.
And you'll see plenty more of me as well. You can find me at Twitter at comrade_Corona, or lurking about in all the CCA channels doing random side quests and such all around. So thank you so much for joining us here tonight, and have a nice night, everyone.
See ya.